Hello friends and happy May. It's the 1st of May. The sun is not shining but it's okay. I'm quite happy that it's May. I love this month. It's my birthday month. I'm very excited. So yeah, I'm just in the studio having some tea. I've just done this journaling session and I'm about to share it with you. It's so beautiful. This month's spread is looking really good. I think it's really pretty. We're going to use this really fun technique where we use a brush pen with just like a watercolor brush, and we drag the color out of the brush pen basically and create these beautiful flowers. And yeah, the spread is just looking fun. I think it's a good one. I hope you enjoy it with me. So yes, excuse the mess, I'm just packaging some orders, but yes, just a regular day in my studio really. I've allocated some time this morning for journaling and I hope you can find some time to do some lovely journaling with me. Let's get started. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. So I'm just getting my desk organized and I'll be using lots of colorful pens, and these are the colors. So I'll be using these Tombow Dual Brush Pens. So I've got two types of green, I've got this bright red, also this like pale orange and another kind of like a beige color. I've got these Karin Brush Markers in purple and red. They're really juicy. I love these brush pens. And I'll use this purple Pentel fine tip brush pen to do some lettering. We can do a little quote. And I'll also use this Tombow Fudenosuke Brush Pen to do some calligraphy, just in black. And this fine tip pen as well. So I actually just bought this on Amazon. It's not like any particular brand, but I quite like it. I'll add the link to it for you guys. We'll need a ruler. And also a pot of water with a brush, like a watercolor brush. So if you have a round brush like this, so this one's in size 6, it'll be really helpful because we can then paint some beautiful flowers. And we're going to start with the left page. So I've clipped mine down like this. You just find it easier so it doesn't move around. So if you've got a little clip, just clip it to another sheet of paper underneath. And I'm just going to start with some green today, I think. I love this bright green colour by Tombow. I'll add all the links, all the shade and numbers, you know, so you can always have a look. So I'm thinking of doing Hello May. So just lettering Hello May. And I'm going for this simplistic style. I'm just going to start this like simplistic letter H. I'm not going to do any entry strokes. I want it to be quite neat looking. And I'm just carrying on, and you know, it can be tricky to letter with bigger brush pens, especially if you haven't warmed up. I definitely haven't, so I might need to go over some of my upstrokes with a fine tip side of the pen. It's a really good trick if you need to correct anything, especially those thin strokes. So I'm just going over some of my upstrokes with this fine tip side of this pen. I love that it's got two tips, very handy. Now this looks good to me. I'm going to carry on with the second word underneath. I'm going to do the word May. It's quite a short word, so make sure you don't start like too much to the left or too much to the right. It should kind of be positioned in the middle of the word hello, so it looks quite balanced. You can of course also leave a little gap, and if it does turn out to be a little bit misbalanced, you can just draw something in that gap, which is something I'll do because I feel like I should have started it a bit more to the left, but it's okay, we'll make it work. So if yours isn't super balanced, don't worry. Okay, so we're going to start with flowers now. I'm going to pick up this Karin brush marker, but you can use any water-based brush pen like Tombow or Karin, it's up to you. And we're going to start by just doing the center of the flower. So I've done a few strokes and formed this little kind of circle. And now I'm grabbing my wet watercolor brush. So I've dipped it in water, it's quite wet. And I'm just starting from the center and dragging the paint out of that middle part of the flower and painting some petals. So I'm kind of aiming for 5 petals at a time for each flower. So it looks quite beautiful, super simple, and it's going to dry and it's going to look quite translucent, and it's just really beautiful. So I'm going to keep doing this in purple. You want to do 1 flower at a time because you want the center to be quite wet for it to be able to blend with water. So I'm just doing this one very close to my word hello, probably a bit too close. But I think it's going to frame it nicely. And also just try to make them different. They don't have to look all the same. You know, try different perspectives. Maybe do some of the top petals a bit shorter and maybe some of the bottom petals a bit kind of like wider, just to change the perspective of each flower, to add a bit of movement. And I'm just doing the purple colour. I'm doing the purple ones now, but I'm thinking of doing some pink ones as well. So we will be adding a little stem to them, so just kind of bear that in mind when you position them. So when we add stems, you're just going to kind of fill in the composition a bit more. I think it's going to look quite lovely. So I've done 3. I might do another one here at the top. Try to vary the size of them as well. You can also rotate your page, or you can just change the way you hold your pen. So sometimes you want to kind of hold it away from yourself to get some of those top petals done. And if you don't see much of a blending there, just make sure your brush is wet enough and try to really work from the center to drag the paint out. Right, let's move on to another colour. I might use some of this pink one. So this one's Tombow, and it's definitely not as juicy as Karin pens, but it still works and it will still look really beautiful. And just make sure that you don't use colours that are really light. You definitely want to go for bolder ones, because obviously when we add water, they will look a bit lighter naturally. So we don't want them to be too pale. So using like brighter, bolder colours will be quite good. And I'm just going to keep doing this, and I might also add in some buds, so maybe to show that the flower isn't kind of opened properly just yet. I might speed this up, but I want you to take your time and get creative and just fill in the page with these beautiful flowers. And if you need to refer to anything, just have a look. But yeah, I'll definitely speed this up, so so that the video doesn't turn out to be like 15 minutes. But yeah, take your time. Now I've finished all of the flower heads, and I'm grabbing my fine tip pen, and I'm just starting to add in these little stems. So a very fine line, obviously done with a fineliner, and try to position these stems in an interesting way as well. So some of the flowers can come out kind of from the side, some of them can be upside down. So try to add a bit of movement here as well, and just find the most natural way of adding in these little stems, little stalks for each flower head. And we'll leave a bit of room for the leaves as well, but let's just do these thin lines first. Now we're going to add lovely leaf detail, and we're going to do these interesting leaves where we kind of do them in one line. So I'm just kind of going upwards and adding like a little loop at the top and going back to the base. So it just kind of creates this little fold. It looks like the leaf is folded in a more of an interesting way, that it's not very uniform, and I love it. I love this technique a lot. So see if you want to do the same. You can also just do normal leaves, of course, but it definitely adds a bit of movement. So I'm doing this little kind of like a ribbon shape, and then I'm adding in a little line in the middle just for like some extra detail. Trying to squeeze them in so that they look quite balanced, you know, and if you have space for some bigger leaves, feel free to add some bigger ones as well. And just to show you a little close up here, so that's how I do it. So I start at the bottom, do a little loop at the top, and then also add in a little line in the middle. So if you can get you confused, it can be a bit confusing at first. But yeah, once you get into it, it'll just feel really natural and you'll be in a flow. So keep adding these leaves. I might speed this up as well, but you can pause the video, take your time, and just make sure to add at least, 2 leaves for each stalk. I've also blended in like a little individual leafy branch like this, so that can look quite good. If you have any room, if you don't have space, fair enough. You probably, yeah, don't have room for that if you added quite a few flowers. And the last step, I love adding these little dots. So I'm just grabbing a red pen or like a pink pen and just adding 3 dots here and there, and it just adds so much charm and it just does something to your composition. I don't know what it is. It looks like a little pollen, a bit of pollen here and there in the air next to these flowers. It kind of brightens them up a little bit. Beautiful. So that's our cover page for this month, all done, and we're going to move on to the second part. So we're going to do the page next to it next, and we are going to begin by drawing a little grid, not a grid, but just like 2 lines, so we can do our month at a glance. So I'm just grabbing my ruler, and we're going to start by doing like a straight line on the right side of the page. So just kind of trying to position it, my ruler, in a straight way and getting ready to do a line. And this will be our little calendar for the month. So 1 line there, and we're going to do one that kind of crosses horizontally. We are keeping everything like on one side. Trying to make sure that it's nice and straight, and doing another line. Lovely. I have a little dot there for some reason, so I'm just going to add a little leaf detail there just to hide it, but yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Okay, so the top part, so this line here will be for writing the days. So I'm just going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just a first letter for each day. And we're going to add in the numbers as well, so just make sure that you're not doing them like too big. So let's start with Wednesday, because today's the 1st and it's a Wednesday. So I'm going to do number 1 where the letter W is, and just kind of carrying on, thinking about the month ahead. It's my birthday month, how exciting. I love May. It's just such a beautiful time. Everything is waking up in nature, all the flowers are blooming, and yeah, it's beautiful. So this month will end on the 31st, and that's going to be a Friday. We also got quite a lot of bank holidays in May, don't we? So yeah, it just makes me, I love doing this. It makes me think about the month ahead, and kind of, I'm doing a bit of planning in my head already, noting all the important dates in my head already. So yeah, take your time as well to just think about it, plan ahead a little bit. And there we go. So that's all done. Now we're going to focus on the left side of the page, and we're going to grab a brush pen and just write month at a glance, just so you know it all looks pretty and we know what we're doing here. So doing a bit of brush lettering practice here. So I'm using my fine tip pen in black. I love using a black pen because it's so contrasting, and sometimes when you have a lot of colorful things on the page, it's quite nice to have something that's like standing out, and it's really easy to read. Right, and I'm going to do at a glance on a separate line. So I'm just making sure that I have enough room. It's always a bit tricky, isn't it? So it's quite hard sometimes to fit your lettering in certain places and spaces, but take your time. Always check in where you are by lifting up your pen, checking how much space you've got left, and if you need to like squeeze your letters a bit tighter together to fit it in, or go a bit smaller. There, so that looks quite nice. And I might just decorate this side as well with some leaves, just for the sake of it, so those leaves at the top don't look like out of place. So I'm just adding a few simple leaf outlines with my fine tip pen. Might add a few berries or some of these lovely flowers that kind of like open up. Lovely. When you're ready, we're going to carry on. We're going to carry on and do a little habit tracker rectangle. So we're just doing this little rectangle here below our calendar, and I'm keeping it fairly small, so this is not going to be too big. So I'm going to do this for 3 habits. If you want yours to be bigger, you can also make it a bit bigger, and try to think already of some habits that you would like to implement this month, something you would like to do more of, something that maybe you didn't do enough last month. And I'm just thinking about mine as well. And let's pick 3 colors. So we're gonna draw a little flower underneath, and every time you're going to practice like a certain habit, there'll be a certain color for it that we're going to write down in a minute. And every time you'll, let's say, you know, drink more water, because that'll be one of your habits, for example, you'll color in a specific part of the drawing. So I'm going to show you everything. So we just written down habits in like simplistic writing style, and I'm picking 3 colors. So just think that it's going to be a flower, so you want to have 2 colors for petals, and then some sort of a shade of green for your stalk of the flower and the leaves. So there we go. Now think of 3 habits. I'm just thinking of mine, and I definitely want to do more yoga. I really neglected it. I always feel amazing after doing it, but I just haven't had time, to be honest. So yeah, I'm hoping to squeeze in some more of that. I'm also hoping to make my lunches healthier every day, because sometimes I'm like in a rush. I don't have time to like eat properly, you know. I think about my children's lunch, but then I can't neglect my own. So yeah, I'm going to put that on, and drink more water. This is so important. I always feel so dehydrated. I don't know about you, but yeah. So yeah, I definitely want to do more of that. So 2 bottles, at least 2 big bottles a day. I'll try to do that. So yeah, think of your habit, and when you're done writing them down, let's just draw this lovely flower. So I'm picking up my fine tip pen, and I'm starting with the center of the flower, and I'm just doing these like really wavy kind of lines that all connect to the same base. And I'm going to start drawing some petals. So I've done one on the left, and now I'm going to keep opening it up, so the flower kind of goes sideways, and then I'm going to add on this top petal as well. So try to kind of keep them nice and wide, especially here at the bottom, and I might do like some bigger ones, especially here at the bottom. And I'm just thinking I might actually add in 1 more on this side. So the more petals you have, the better, because every time you do your habit, you know, let's say you drink a lot of water today, and then you can use the green color to like color in the leaves, or if you are doing some yoga, like in my example, I'll then color in like 1 petal if I did yoga. So I've got 6 petals, so I'm hoping to do yoga at least like 3 times, and then you know, implement healthy lunches as well. So every time you do it, just color in 1 part of the flower. I hope that makes sense. And I'm adding in some leaves. I might actually add on another branch later on, but yeah, just an example. So let's say I've drunk a lot of water today, so I'm going ahead and just coloring in this half the leaf. And the next time, let's say the next day, I drink some more water tomorrow, I'll go ahead and color in the second part of the leaf, and just yeah, carry on like this. And if you run out of space and you keep really well at your habits, you can just draw some more things. And yeah, let's say I'm going to do yoga today, so I'm committing to doing it. I should really color it in after I've done it, but I'm going to do it tonight. That's it. It's in my journal. So yeah, I've colored in 1 petal for that. I hope that makes sense. There we go. All right, so we've still got the left side of the page all blank, so let's just fill it in with some lovely things. So we're going to do another little rectangle. So this one's going to be actually not so little, so it's going to be a bit bigger. So I'm just trying to position my ruler straight, and I'm doing this one. So this will be for 4 things that you want to focus on this month. So as you draw this rectangle, try to think of those things. I haven't actually come up with mine just yet. I really need to sit down, have a cup of tea, and like really think about it. So I'm going to do that. Oh, I wanted to add these little spirals. I forgot, sorry guys, on this habit tracker section. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So I'm just adding on these little kind of like spirals, and it looks like it's like a little yeah, like a little booklet basically. So yeah, it just looks nice. There we go. I'm just carrying on with this rectangle now, and I'm being quite careful, especially like on the side of my page. I might need to rotate my page to get the straight line there. And there we go, just connecting the corners. And I'm gonna grab my brush pen, just a brush pen in black, and I'm going to letter the word focus. You could also just do it in your handwriting, of course. So yeah, I'm gonna do beautiful letter F with a nice entry stroke. So there's quite a lot of space there, so I'm not making my lettering too small. And I'm going to finish with a beautiful exit stroke as well, just to kind of fill in the space a little bit more. And I'm going to grab my neutral looking brush pen. So this one's like kind of like a peach color. I love it. So I'm going to do these thick strokes to the side, so I get like 4 lines. And you can also use a highlighter, of course. It's just going to look a bit nicer when it's all highlighted, I think. So I'm going to add little bullet points and just think about what I want to focus on. So it'll probably be something about my business, but I need to kind of think about it a bit more. So yeah, you could also leave it blank for now or fill it in as you go. And the next thing, so we're going to do two more little sections. So let's do like this little leafy branch frame, not a frame really, but just 2 branches, and we're going to letter a lovely quote within the space in between these 2 branches. I love doing this. I love doing the branches first, because then it kind of gives you the idea of how much space you've got to do your lettering in. And I'm just going to grab this purple pen. I really love the shade. Let me just have a look what it is. It's called Blue Violet. It's beautiful. And I'm going to letter, great things never come from comfort zones. And I love this quote so much. Isn't it so true? Every time we start to feel like our, I don't know, life or like routines like shaken up a little bit, we get new experiences, we might feel like, oh, I'm not, comfortable doing this. Maybe you feel a bit of fear, or you're just not sure that you can do it. And that's usually when the breakthroughs happen. That's when the change happens, and that's when you grow. You do something new, you learn something new, and you try something new. So I think it's a really, really good quote, and it's quite good to remember to, even if you are scared of doing something or you're not feeling 100% confident at it, just go for it, do it. It will be uncomfortable, but it'll make you grow. And the thing is that, you'll probably look back and think that I'm glad I did it. So yeah, just a little reminder in our journal for this month. I think it's lovely. It's a lovely phrase to read and come back to. There we go. So I've kind of run out a bit of space in my first line, but it's okay. It kind of looks natural in that, in this way, where it kind of hides behind this little branch of leaves. So my white things got a bit hidden, but that's okay. So yeah, see if you can make yours a bit smaller if you can, but I think it looks quite lovely anyway. And for the last part, so I'm going to letter the word goals with my fine tip pen, and just notice how I'm starting with this really straight line, which is already a part of this rectangle. So I'm going to start with a thin straight line and also finish with like a really horizontal straight line, and try to kind of blend it into your word. So when you start, just start with this long entry stroke that's completely straight, and when you finish the letter S, just go like into this line kind of right away. So see if you can achieve this look. I think it's quite nice. And I'm going to grab my yellow pen and just do 2 lines. You can also use a highlighter, and be careful, sometimes you might need to wait a little bit for your pen to dry, because sometimes I tend to smudge my lettering. but it's okay. So 2 bullet points, and again, just write down your monthly goals. So what are the 2 things that you really want to achieve this month? It's quite nice to write them down. And this is pretty much it. I'm just looking at my page and thinking, you know, whether I can add something into it. I might just draw some extra leaves or branches, some flowers. Might do like another branch next to this big flower. So yeah, you can definitely decorate a little bit, but I think even just this is looking really good. And take your time filling it in, having a bit of fun with it. And I would love to see your work, so please share in the group, or just comment below. Let me know how you got on with it. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you have a wonderful month. I'm sure you will, and I'll see you in June.